Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Golf Talk Live. I'm your host, Ted Odorico, and I want to welcome you to my U.S. Open preview or pre-show, as I indicated in the lead up to this program. In a week from today, some of the world's best golfers are going to do battle at the Merion Golf Club out in Ardmore, Pennsylvania, and I'm certainly looking forward to that. It's the second major of the year, of course, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the program. Just to remind everyone about the show, Golf Talk Live, it is a live broadcast beginning at every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And normally, if I have a guest on, I'll run it through to at least 7:30. Sometimes I will go to 8, depending on what's going to be on the agenda for that evening. But it does start, and it is live through that time. Of course, the programs are auto-recorded. So if you're not able to join us live here, you can certainly visit the main site, which is blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live, and you can listen to the recorded version. Of course, while we're live, if you so choose, you're welcome to call into the program, and the number to call in is 646-716-4667. And if you're listening here tonight live and you want to call in and give me your thoughts on the U.S. Open as we progress through the program, or maybe you want to pick who you think is going to win this year's Open, I'd certainly like to get your thoughts on it. I also talked about in the opening on Facebook and other social media sites that I posted the program on that I was going to do another segment of the good, bad, and the ugly. And I kind of do a little bit different tonight. Some of my choices I think will be very, very apparent, but one of my choices probably might be a little confusing to some as to why I chose it, but I think you'll understand as it goes on. But just before I do that, I also want to remind you, to those particularly teaching professionals out there or anybody in the golf industry that would like to come on as a guest in future dates on Golf Talk Live, that they can email me at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. Again, that's ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. And I want to thank to a lot of those that have already contacted me, and just to give you an idea, and I'm going to go through some of them in just a few moments, that I've had a tremendous amount of response from a lot of professionals from really all over the country, but particularly here in the Florida area, who have agreed, and some of them are of course, very prominent, and in my opinion, they're all very prominent, but certainly some heavy hitters have agreed to come onto the program and talk about the great game of golf. So I'm going to go through some of those again in a few moments, and then I'll progress on to the good, bad, and the ugly segment, and then of course we'll talk a little bit about the U.S. Open. So let me just very quickly go through some of the guests that are going to be coming up on Golf Talk Live in the weeks and months ahead. I'm actually, just for those of you that are tuning in that are interested in coming on the program, as I said, I'm booked right now through to the end of July. I'm now taking those that want to come on the program, any requests for the month of August. And that's, of course, every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Central Time is the time that the program airs. So just to keep that in mind when you're checking your schedules. Just to let you know, next week, obviously, with the U.S. Open coming on, I haven't really decided yet. I may actually not do that program just because obviously it's going to be difficult to get a guest to come on at that time. Everybody's going to be wrapped up in what's going on with the Open and also the aftermath and so forth. And certainly don't want to interrupt any of those. And, I'm not sure whether I'm going to get obviously much of an audience that night. So I haven't decided whether I'm going to do next week or not, but I'll certainly let you guys know at some point in the days and prior to next Thursday. But on June 20th, just to let you know, I've actually got a couple of guests coming in. Deanna Zenger, who is the Executive Director of the Association of Golf Fitness Professionals, and she's also the Director of Hole-in-One Pilates International, or Pilates for Golf. And she's also a fellow Canadian, which should prove to be quite interesting. I'm sure we'll have some good stories to share there. But she's going to come on and talk a little bit about the fitness aspect of golf, and I think that's certainly important in this day and age out in the golf course for players to be fit and to be in shape. And then sort of wrapping up that June 20th date is Trent Werner of Trent Werner Golf, out of Englewood, Colorado. Obviously, with the recent tornado that went into Colorado, there was a lot of damage done there. So we're glad, Trent, first off, that you made it safe. And again, our hearts go out to those that are still struggling through the aftermath. But he's going to be coming on and talking about a book that he's done. And actually, he just sent me out a copy entitled Golf Scrimmages. And then, of course, we're going to talk, as we always do here on Golf Talk Live, a little bit about golf. And just a quick note, just to remind you, for those that maybe didn't tune in last week or hadn't heard it, my special guest last week was Nicole Weller, and she was the head teaching professional at the Landings Club out in Savannah, Georgia. And again, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, that the shows are auto-recorded. So if you weren't able to tune in live and you haven't had a chance to listen to that, it was a great interview. She really talked a lot about where she fits in the junior golf programs and running a lot of successful programs out in Savannah. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to it, by all means, visit the Golf Talk Live page at blogtalkradio.com, and you can listen not only to the previous interview that I had with Nicole last week, but you can also listen to the archived programs that I did myself when we first came on air. So as I said, if you haven't had a chance to listen to those yet, by all means, please visit the blogtalkradio.com/Golf Talk Live page, and you can listen to those at your convenience. Following on here with some of the other guests coming up, June 27th, again, I've managed to double out here. I've got two great guests coming up. To start it off, it's going to be Joel Zuckerman, and he's going to be coming on talking about a book which actually, coincidentally, Nicole Weller was one of the featured pros, and it's called Pros Pro, an extraordinary club professionals making golf great. And if you want to purchase a copy of that, you can get that at www.vagabondgolfer.com. And, of course, when Joel comes on, we'll get him to talk a little bit more about that. And that's on June 27th. A little later in that broadcast, we're going to have another guest, Coach Tom Shaw. Is TPI certified, and he's 12 years as a Division I coach, founder of College Golf Game Plan. And he was, as I said, a Division I coach at Vanderbilt and Tulane University. So we're interested to get him talking on the program as well, sort of a lead up from, or follow-up rather, from Nicole's program last week, which talked really about the real juniors, starting at the age of 2 and teaching them golf. And Tom and I are going to talk a little bit about progressing through high school and obviously into college and, of course, golf in general. We're going to get his input on that. And then, of course, leading off in July, I've got one of my, I like to call my heavy hitters, and that's Don Law, top teaching professional. And Don runs the Don Law Golf Academy, which opened up in 1999 and has grown into one of the largest teaching centers in Florida. And Don's down in Boca Raton, Florida. So I'm sure many of you that follow golf, and particularly in this area, certainly are familiar with Don Law. He's going to come on July 4th, and we're going to talk a little bit, of course, about what Don's doing for the game and where he sees it sort of progressing as time goes on. Then on the 11th, we're going to have Chuck Evans, Executive Director of Instruction at Medicus Golf Academies, and he's out of Kansas City, Missouri. Certainly looking forward to having Chuck on as well, a very seasoned teaching professional, and we want to certainly get his input on the show. And just remember, to interrupt for just a second before I continue on with some of the other guests, at any time if you want to contact or call in during the show while they're being live broadcast and speak to some of the guests that are on here, again, feel free, or myself, feel free to do so at 646-716-4667. Of course, obviously, once it's gone off air in the tape version, you're not going to be able to get through to anybody. But we certainly want to encourage and have you that are listening in here that come on live to certainly call into the program. If you have questions or want to know a little bit about, or just to pick some of the pros' brains, that's essentially what they're here for, is not only just to talk about what they're doing in golf, but to give you an opportunity, maybe particularly if you're not living in this area or in the area that they're teaching, to give it a chance to sort of pick their brains as to how to help your game. So by all means, feel free to do that at any point throughout the programs. Maybe you have a favorite coach or a favorite guest that's going to be on and you want to ask them some questions, by all means do that. And again, the number is 646-716-4667. Don't forget, we are live right now on Golf Talk Live, so I'm certainly happy to take your calls at any time throughout the broadcast. Moving down again, July 18th, Steve Pratt, another teaching professional out of Westlake Village in California. Now, very interesting about Steve is he studied the Mike Austin golf swing. And a lot of people may not, some of the younger ones may not be familiar with Mike Austin, but he hit a very, very famous drive back in the 1974 National Senior Open, 515-yard drive. Now, if you put that in perspective, given the time frame back in the late 70s, mid to late 70s, when probably most of us, if not all of us, were still using persimmon woods and so forth, that's a long drive. That's certainly going beyond most par fours and certainly most short par fives by today's standards. So he pretty much, I'm sure, drove or maybe even flew the green on that particular hole. But and a quote that Steve put in on his website, which was kind of interesting, and this puts into perspective to something I was talking about, or somebody I was talking about in a previous show, was he was like Mo Norman on steroids. As most of you that have followed Mo Norman's career, he was an incredible ball striker and certainly could hit a pretty good ball himself, great distance. Certainly wasn't the longest player out there, but in his career, but he certainly had a great swing and interesting style and approach to the game. And then rounding out the final date on Thursday, July 25th, is going to be a Randy Friedman, who is a speaker and mind coach and a golf pro at Golf Mind Power LLC, and she's down in Palm Beach, Florida. And she's the author of a book that she's going to talk about a little bit, is 2008, called Your Inner Swing. And basically what Randy's going to do while she's here, she's going to talk about the mental side of the game. We want to try and cover all aspects of the game on Golf Talk Live. We want to talk about not only the junior golf and what I would classify as the intermediate, where you're getting into college and of course high school, but also we want to talk about not just when those that are seeking a tour career, but talking about different aspects, everything from equipment to instruction, to the mental side of the game. There's a lot of different aspects that we want to cover here on Golf Talk Live, just to give everybody that's listening a great perspective. So those are some of the people that are going to be coming in. I've got a bunch more, as I know that you've heard me mention now every broadcast. My good buddy Barry Goldstein and his daughter Carly Ray are going to be joining me. I was hoping to have them for June, but unfortunately their schedules are so tight right now that it looks like it's going to be in August. And I think, don't quote me on this, again, it's not 100% confirmed, but probably the second Thursday in August is what we're looking at right now, and which will actually work out perfect because she's going to be coming, or getting ready rather, to head off to LSU for her first term in college. And she's going to be, of course, playing some great golf there, and she's managed to earn herself a full scholarship, I'm sure, with some great marks and some great golf. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I wanted to have them on actually next week, being that it's the Father's Day week, and I just thought what a great guest to have on was Barry and of course his daughter Carly Ray. Now he does have another daughter, and I'm going to ask him a little bit about her and whether she's as proficient in golf as Carly Ray is, or maybe she has other passions. So we'll certainly ask about both of them. But Carly Ray is going to come on here and talk about what she's got planned. And just to refresh some of your memory, Carly Ray won nearly 100 tournaments in her junior career. Now, it's before getting to LSU. And that's quite a resume to be taking to going into a college program. So she's got a lot under her belt, and I'm sure she's going to have a successful career, whatever she does. But we're certainly rooting for her, and I'm looking forward to having them in the weeks to come. Also, Bernie Pinder, who is the owner of Ontic Putters. He's going to be coming on here sometime. Again, we're looking probably now in August because the other dates are booked up, barring any cancellations, of course. But as it stands right now, we're starting to take bookings for August. So any of you teaching professionals out there that are interested, or as I said, anybody that's in the golf industry in general, whether it be in the equipment side or you have some other products that are helping your students out there in the game, or your coaching, certainly contact me at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com, and we'll see if we can get you into the program in the months ahead. But anyways, let me move on now to, of course, the segment, as I promised, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I really had, it's not an easy thing to come up with because there's not always going to be a topic that I can find for each of them. And I hope that, I hope that you'll find these of interest. It's just something I decided to do for a little bit of fun. As most of you that have listened already know, that I've obviously taken the good, the bad, and the ugly from a Clint Eastwood movie titled by the same. And I just thought it would be kind of an interesting thing to do. So I'm going to start off obviously with the good, and this is something that I've used. It's by a company called Nikken, and that's spelled Nikken. Assuming I'm pronouncing that right. And you can get a little more information on their products at Nikken.com. And the product that I want to talk about that falls under the good category is a product that they call MagSteps, and that's a magnetic insole. Now, I'm sure most of you have seen these, maybe not necessarily with this particular company. They've been around for a long, long time. I think they first introduced this product back in the mid to late 70s. So it's been around. The company's been around for quite a while, and it's, as I understand, it's a Japanese-based company. But the reason why I wanted to bring this one up under the good category, back a number of years ago, when I was still back up in Canada, my sister's one of her close friends. Now, just to let you know how Nikken works is they work very much on the principle that they have reps, if you will, that you can purchase a lot of their products for. It's kind of like I don't want to say Amway, but along that ideas where they have a lot of business associates and things like that you purchase a lot of their products. So in my particular case, of course, it was a friend of my sister, so I didn't have a problem with that. But he did a really interesting test with me, and I found that this product, for those of you that have ever used a magnetic insole, you might understand, especially if you've bought a good one. Now, as I said, and I'll sort of get into the difference in a minute, but if you've ever purchased one at, whether it be Walmart or some of the other stores, there's a lot of cheap knockoffs on the market, and they're really not as effective and really don't reap the same benefits that this particular product. Now, these products here, just to give you an idea, you can get them pretty much up to size 13, which is what I'm wearing right now. And they range from the smallest size, I think, is size 5, which is available, up to the 13. Now, I'm not sure if they have custom orders or not. That's something you'd certainly have to look into. But what's really unique about this is, and the price range, I'll let you know, is about $60 to $70 for this particular product. So it sounds like a lot, but they certainly will last a long time, and there is a definite benefit. And just to tell you what the test that he did with me was, he had me stand up across from him, and without, of course, having the product in my shoes. These are just like a regular insole, like you would put in, much the same as like an odor eater, if you will, that sort of product. But it's got magnets throughout it, and the design is such that the entire surface is magnetic, whereas some of your cheaper knockoffs have placed certain magnets in key points of the feet, but don't really cover the whole surface. And what was kind of interesting about this is, as he had me standing across from him, he had me put my arms out directly in front of me at about shoulder, somewhere between chest and shoulder high. And of course, he was standing right across from me. And what he did was he placed his arms on top of mine and pushed down. Well, of course, we were about the same size, so there wasn't really a huge strength or difference between the two of us. But what was kind of interesting is he very easily was able to lower my arms down several times. No matter how hard I tried to put this, to hold back from his pressure, I wasn't able to successfully do that. And I'm a fairly strong guy. I'm not certainly the strongest, but I certainly am a fairly strong guy. Then he had me put on or slip in the MagSteps that I'm talking about, and waited a minute or two and had me do the same test again. And what was interesting is, suddenly, no matter how hard he tried, he was unable to move my arms down. Now you think, well, what's the benefit of that? Well, basically what the magnets do inside these insoles is they help balance out your inner energy, if you will, in your body. And the benefits that I found was not only did it sort of rejuvenate me a little bit and give me obviously strength that I didn't have, but here's how I applied it to my golf game. Now, obviously, a lot of places prefer you to take a golf cart and that sort of thing, and I understand that. But you're still doing a fair bit of walking if you've got to walk, on the green and things like that. And over the course of a round, you're certainly going to walk still a fair bit, even if you are driving for a lot of it. And what I found was back home, of course, we were able to, on a lot of the courses, we were able to walk. And as many of you know, even at a young age, you walk 18 holes and you're fairly stiff. And I don't care how good a shape you are, you're fairly stiff after a little while. And what I found with wearing these particular insoles, these mag steps from Nikon, is I didn't have that problem. And I could actually play, there were many times I would play 36 holes in a day, and normally I'd be pooped at the end of the day. And I felt that my energy levels were high, and also I just found that my calves and my feet and so forth weren't sore like they normally would be. And, a lot of people put gel insoles and things like that, and they're great, and they'll certainly help too. But I just found this particular product, it was worth the $60 investment that I paid at that time. And I still have them to this day. And, of course, I've replaced with a new fresh pair as well. But they're just a great product, and I really recommend, even for a teaching professional, because I know you're on your feet all day many a times, especially those that are running successful academies. And if you haven't invested in something like that or aren't aware of that, that's definitely something that I would look into. So, again, if you visit Nikon.com and check out the mag steps, I think that you'll find it's well worth the investment. So that's what I put under the good category tonight. I know it's not really technically a golf product, but I just thought it was something that could help really, particularly with some of the more senior golfers. Again, I know most of them are taking carts and not really walking a lot, but some of them find it's difficult to get around and maybe not as steady on their feet because of that. And I really think that this will help. And just to sort of draw a comparison, I've used a similar product, as I said, buy over the counter, whether it be at a CVS store or Walmart. And I've even bought some of their better ones that are, in the $20 plus range, and there was no comparison. This particular product, I mean, it's like the old adage, you get what you pay for. If you're going to go cheap and nasty and buy I think you can get them for as little as $9.99 or $12.99, what have you. The magnets are just not that strong. Well, it looks like we've got somebody calling into the program, so let me just take this call before we continue on. Welcome to the show. You're on Golf Talk Live with Ted. How can I be of service for you this evening? Hello, welcome. You're on Golf Talk Live. Oh, I guess not. I guess they didn't feel like talking tonight. Well, hopefully they'll call back. But anyways, just to sort of wrap up that segment. As I said, I've tried a number of the different products that are out there in a variety of stores, and they just don't compare. So visit Nikon.com. Check out. They have a lot of other different products there that you might find useful as well. But the MagStep insoles, I highly, highly recommend. And I'm going to put a link up on my website and also on my Facebook page and so forth if you maybe forget and want to check it out at a later time. And just to remind you, obviously our last caller was a little bit nervous, didn't want to talk in, or maybe it was just a bad connection. You can call into the program at any time. The number is 646-716-4667. I want to move on to the next segment of the good, bad, and the ugly, and that's, of course, the bad. And I'm sure, as most of you are aware, Lee Janzen was disqualified this week from the U.S. Open qualifier. And obviously the reason, again, most of you I'm sure are aware, Lee wore metal spikes on a course. And it really, I'm going to sort of go ahead a little bit. I really should have probably put this in the ugly category. And the reason why I say that is Lee, of course, is a two-time U.S. Open winner. He's a seasoned veteran, in my opinion, on the tour. an 8-time winner. He won the U.S. Open. He's won it twice, as I indicated. First in '93, he defeated Payne Stewart at Baltusrol. And then again, he won in 1998 at the Olympic Club in San Francisco, California. So he's certainly familiar to the protocols. And as it was indicated in lots of the media, there was an email that was sent out, of course, to all the players at some of the rules and things like that and the conditions. And obviously he didn't read it, whether it was just out of laziness or not. But I put Lee in the bad category because I just feel that with his experience and his knowledge of the game and knowing that the rules are there to be followed, it's a shame that he's not going to be in the Open. To certainly try for a third title, and I just think that was just really a bad move. Now I will give him credit where credit is due. He did take it in stride. He didn't get on and hop on the horn like some golfers have in the past when they've been disqualified and complain. In fact, he tweeted, "Yes, DQ for metal spikes at qualifier at Woodmont. Rule was in email. More concerned about my game, which was a 75 in the first round. Put me way back anyways, rather." And that was something that he tweeted pretty much following the incident. I just think that it was something that was really not a very smart thing on his part. I really, you're talking about a major championship, and particularly being a 2-time winner, and as I said, an 8-time winner on the tour. Lee, of course, came on the tour in 1989. So he's certainly been out there for a long, long time. I'm sure it wasn't intentional. But at the same time, I had to throw him in the bad this week because I just felt that that was just not a good move on his part, and I'm sure that I'm sure he'll not make that mistake again, and I guess he'll have to watch it from his lazy boy chair on the weekend with the rest of us. But so Lee, unfortunately, I'm throwing you in the bad category for being DQ'd this week at the Open qualifier. I know I like the metal spikes. I used to wear them all the time, but this day and age, with many of the courses getting away from that, I think you should have known better. So I'm throwing you in the bad category, Lee, for being DQ'd this week. And this brings me to the ugly category, and I know some of you are going to kind of say, "What? What are you talking about? Why would you throw this in the ugly category?" But I'm going to throw the U.S. Open itself in the ugly category, but not for the reasons that you might think. It's not a bad thing. I'm throwing it in the ugly category because I think that you're going to see a lot of it's going to get ugly next week at the Open. I think you're going to see a lot of the top players are going to be battling it out, and I think it's going to be an ugly scene, and I mean that obviously in a good way, and I'm certainly looking to enjoy that. And some of the best golfers in the world are going to be playing in that tournament, so I know it's going to be a lot of fun and for everybody to watch, and it's going to be, I'm sure, very very tough on a lot of players, as any of the major championships are rather. So I'm hoping that it's a good one and full with a lot of excitement, and who knows, maybe we'll be lucky and have another championship with a playoff, which will make it even a little bit more exciting. But just some of the notables that are going to be in that did qualify so far. Freddie Couples, of course, the 92 Masters champion. He's going to be in there. And this is somebody I to be honest, if I was to have a pick, this would be my person to pick. And it's not, obviously I did the good and bad and the ugly on, I believe it was the first show that I did. And Freddie Couples, of course, being inducted into the Golf Hall of Fame was my good category. I'm just a big fan of Freddie's, as I make no bones about it. Of course, he won the 92 Masters champion, as I mentioned. I'd love to see him get a U.S. Open champion. So, Freddie, I hope you're playing at your best next week, and I look forward to watching you. Of course, John Daly so far has made it. He was the 91 PGA championship. That was really the big movement for him onto the tour. As we all remember, that really launched his career in the PGA Tour, and it was a very memorable tournament. I remember watching that, and that was when we first got our sample of Long John Daly, as he was referred to. So I'm looking forward to him, and I hope he has a good one. I know he's struggled a lot over the years with his game. Just a quick note, I watched John some years back when he came up to the Canadian Open in Oakville at Glen Abbey. And if you've never had a chance to get up close and watch John, as fascinating it is to watch him hit a long ball, it's even more interesting, especially from a teacher's perspective, to watch just the finesse that he has with a short game. He is probably one of the best short game players, at least at that time. I know it's gotten a little streaky lately over the years, but certainly one of the better, if not one of the best short game players. I mean, he would just do things with that wedge that was just unbelievable. I remember watching him, as I said, at the Open, or at the Canadian Open in Glen Abbey, up in Oakville, Ontario, Canada. And I remember on the driving range, the setup they had there was just beside, to the left of the teeing area, there was the practice green, and there was a little sidewalk, that cart path, if you will, that ran sort of around the green to the left of the teed area on the range. And John was on the very left section of that tee box, if you will, teeing area, and the green was literally just a few steps on the other side of this cart path, and it was downhill about a foot or so. And he stood there with probably a 60-degree wedge, and taking a full swing, and I mean it wrapped around almost to the point where it hit him on the other side of the head, and he would just finesse those shots, I mean, literally up in the air, over the cart path, and just gently rolling it onto the green, sort of nestling up to one of the holes that were there. And he did several of these to much of the awe of many of the players. And so I'm certainly hoping that John, I know it's not a likelihood that he's going to win, but never say never. But I certainly want to see him do well. I want to really see John get a resurgence of his career. Some other notables: Mark Calcavecchia, J. Don Blake, Mark Brooks, of course Ricky Fowler. Want to see him do well. I know he's itching to get an Open and a major, particularly under his belt. Jim Furyk, obviously another notable player. Sergio Garcia. Despite some of my comments in earlier programming, I do like Sergio, and I hope he does well, and want to see him do well in whatever tournament he plays. And I know he's made some bad decisions of late with his comments and things like that, but I'm a firm believer in forgive and forget. So Sergio, we're moving on and wanting nothing but good things. Retief Goosen, previous U.S. Open winner, he won the 2004 U.S. Open. Certainly want to see him do well. Of course, as you all may recall, he was struck by lightning some years back, and thankfully survived, but left him a little shaken for some time, but he bounced back and, of course, won the 2004 U.S. Open. So it certainly, I don't know whether I would say that helped his game or not, but it certainly didn't put him down, and we're grateful that he survived that. And obviously, most of you, I'm sure, know the stories of Lee Trevino, who was struck multiple times on the golf course, and he manages to keep his merry way. So obviously I'm looking forward to all of these players, but looking forward to players like Retief and John and of course Freddie Couples playing well. Number 2 in the world, Rory McIlroy, is going to be playing, of course, and want to see him certainly do well. I know he's been struggling a little bit lately in his game, but I think he's starting to iron some of that out in the last week or so. So hopefully he'll do a good showing in next week, U.S. Open. Didn't mean to skip by him, but Davis Love III, another favorite player. I put him up there with Freddie Couples. I enjoyed watching him. He has another sort of a silky smooth swing, long, sneaky long off the tee. Had the pleasure of watching him over the years. So I'm rooting for you as well, Davis. I know I can't pick you all, but certainly want all of you to have a good round and a good tournament. Phil Mickelson, of course, multiple Masters champion, among other things, won a boatload of tournaments. Not sure how he's going to do. I haven't really been watching much of Phil this season. Haven't really seen him up there too much, so I'm not sure where things are going to stand with him, but I'd like to see him do well, of course. And Mark O'Meara, obviously great to see some of the older players, that some of them that have moved on to the Champions Tour and whatnot, or getting close to coming back and qualifying for the U.S. Open. So Mark, certainly good luck out there. And Jose Maria Olazabal, again, a Masters champion, would like to see him do well. And finally, Adam Scott, another one that's made it through. He's going to be playing. Of course, he was the 2013 Masters champion, so he's already got a major under his belt. And of course, Adam Scott from Down Under, favorite by, I know, Greg Norman, another prominent player from Down Under, we all know and respect, is going to be teeing it up next week as well in the U.S. Open. So it'll be interesting to see if he keeps the momentum going and does well in the tournament next week. There were a couple of players, and let me just dig through here real quick. A couple of players that failed to, or one particularly. There are other qualifiers. Let me just back up for a second. Out at the Columbus, Ohio, Brookside Golf and Country Club, the medalist was the two-time PGA Tour winner, Charlie Hoffman, was the medalist at that qualifying tournament. Also qualifying was David Hearn, Nick Thompson, Robert Klassen, and, of course, Josh Teeter. Somebody that failed, and I was really disappointed, and I have my reasons for that as well, but was the 2003 Masters champ, Mike Weir, also from Canada. Was a little disappointed that he didn't make it into the tournament, and I think a lot of it is Mike just not playing as much golf as he did in the beginning. He's obviously a family man, and certainly nothing wrong with that. But I think you really need to be out there grinding it out week in, week out with the rest of them, I think, in order to keep your game sharp. And I just don't think that he's been doing that in recent years. So Mike, it was a disappointment for me to not see Mike Weir, a fellow Canadian, getting into the U.S. Open. I'd like to see him. But certainly good luck to all of the players that did make it in. And I know there's a ton more. But I certainly can't list them all off. One of the other things that I wanted to just to remind you of, as I said, in the upcoming weeks, I mentioned to you that we've got a number of different professionals, teaching professionals, and industry types coming onto the program. I'm going to put the actual schedule that I've got so far. I'm going to be putting that up on the Golf Talk Live Facebook page, which reminds me, for those that you haven't done that so far, certainly would appreciate it if you would visit facebook.com and /Golf Talk Live and throw a few likes on the Facebook page for me. I would really appreciate your support. We've got a few there now. I think we're up to about 42, so I know it's only been up there for a little over a week or so, but people are starting to stop by and support the show, so I really appreciate it. And also, I've left it open if you want to post something on there, if you have any questions, or if you've got a topic that you want me to cover here on Golf Talk Live. I'm certainly open to any suggestions. So please visit the Facebook page and by all means put your comments and your thoughts on there as the weeks and months progress. But just to remind you, we've got a great lineup coming up. Deanna Zenger's coming up in a couple of weeks. Tom Shaw, Don Law, Chuck Evans, and Randy Friedman. Boy, I don't want to forget anybody. Just a ton of them. Let me see. Joel Zuckerman. And also we've got Trent Warner. And, of course, Steve Pratt coming up in the weeks and that ahead, coming up as guests on Golf Talk Live. So I hope you'll stay tuned and continue to support the program and listen to what they have to say and get their input onto some of the things happening in the golf, but also a little bit about their academies and what they're doing to help progress the game. Just a little bit about the golf club that's hosting next week, Marion Golf Club in Ardmore, Pennsylvania. Of course, they're playing on the East Course, which is one of the shortest courses that they play the U.S. Open on. It's only just a little under 7,000 yards. It's actually 6996, in a par 70. Course was opened in 1912, and the architect was Hugh Wilson. Probably one of the more memorable moments was in 1950. Ben Hogan won his second of 4 U.S. Opens in a playoff against none other than Lloyd Mangrum and, of course, George Fazio. A fact about the 2013 U.S. Open will be played the 82nd at Marion USGA Championship conducted in the state of Pennsylvania. So just a little fun fact there. Just a couple of questions that I got here that I just want to sort of read through and kind of give some responses. what parts of Merion can a player take advantage in the U.S. Open? And I think that probably holes 1 through 13, if I was to advise somebody, really need to play. I mean, you obviously need to get a good start in any round, but particularly holes 1 to 13 need to really be played well, because the last 5 holes are probably the most difficult. There's only 2 par 5s on the second, which is the second and the fourth holes. So there's obviously a good chance possibly there to get an eagle, or certainly attempt to get an eagle, and at the very least certainly want to capitalize and get some birdies there. Obviously, the course is going to be made tough, I'm sure, because it is a U.S. Open. So there's 2 par 5s there. 2 most difficult par 4s would be the 5th and 6th. And, of course, the easiest holes would be holes 7 through 13. So certainly the players are going to want to capitalize there. So if I was to really advise somebody what parts of the Merion would they want to take advantage of, I would probably say on the 2 par 5s for sure, and get off to a good start on your round, and really try to capitalize on those holes 7 through 13. Now, another question that I have here is, describe the winners of the Open, and who would I think is got the best chance? And I don't necessarily mean a player, but the type of player. And I really think it needs, in any Open, but particularly in a major championship, it really needs to be somebody who can position the ball from point A to point B. In other words, can play some target golf. Obviously, the greens are going to be fast, the fairways are going to be narrow, and the rough is, I'm sure, going to be a little thicker than in most of the courses they play on the tour. So there's going to be lots of areas to be penalized. So it really needs to be somebody that can hit the targets. So we want, obviously, the better ball striker, somebody like a Luke Donald. Obviously, when Tiger's at his best, which is pretty much all the time, he's going to be out there, and that type of player. So those types of players that are really solid ball strikers. Also, the ideal golfer is somebody who can work the ball both left and right. Is going to have a big advantage, because there's going to be a mixture of holes where the fairways are going to run either to the left or the right. So obviously somebody that's able to work both ways. Now, I know some people are thinking, well, Nicklaus pretty much predominantly through most of his career played a fade, and but he was able to, in those days, obviously the courses were a little bit shorter, but he was able to use his course management skills to really navigate around there. So, that was sort of the exception to the rule. But I think in today's game, it's much different than in Nicklaus's day, and particularly in the earlier days. And I think it's going to take somebody that's able to work the ball left and right. Obviously, it's going to take a strong putter. Again, the greens are going to be fast at the Open, so anybody that's really a strong punter is going to have a big advantage. And obviously, not to take away, but somebody that's mentally tough, which gives obviously people like Tiger and Nicklaus, who have more prominent for that type of thing. Now, there's a lot of them out there that obviously I think if you make it out on the tour, you've got to have a fairly strong mental game, but there's some that obviously stand out more than others. And as I just mentioned, Tiger and Jack Nicklaus in his earlier days probably are among the strongest mental games out there in the game of golf. And, a famous comment that Hal Sutton, a former PGA professional, tour player. Of course, you don't see him out there much anymore. And in fact, I think he's now probably moved on. I'm not even sure if he's playing on the Champions Tour. I'd love to actually see him out there. I always enjoyed watching Hal. He was a big guy and just could, hit a solid ball, very, very good ball striker. But comment he said one time, he said, course management is key to success when playing out on tour. And he's certainly right. I think the player that's going to win next week is somebody who's going to have a strong course management. And if you look back, as I said, over history, Nicklaus and, of course, in more recent history, Tiger certainly have strong course management. So I look for that type of individual to be the one that's going to really do well, not just the long hitters. I think the long hitters like a Bubba Watson and some of the other ones out on tour certainly will have an advantage in some ways getting on some of the longer holes. But I think that if they're not careful, their length could be actually detrimental in a U.S. Open, because obviously the greens and so forth and the fairways are going to be a little bit narrow. So positioning is going to be key. So somebody that's a solid ball striker that's able to get it into position, get it in the fairways, and get it on the green and be able to hold it on that green and then putt it out well is obviously going to be your champion next week. Again, just to sort of recap, I think that with some of the guests coming up, one of the things that I want to do with this program, obviously other than just hear myself talk, which is why I've extended out a number of invitations, and there's plenty more coming, just trying to fit them all in. I was very pleased, and I want to thank all of you who've responded so far and that have committed in the next weeks and months ahead. I want to thank you for supporting this program, and I'm certainly going to do my best to keep it interesting and to keep it fresh and forward. As I mentioned in the opening program, just to very quickly recap, because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because I've already mentioned it, and I think most of you understand, this is not a program that's designed to, ramble off stats and figures and facts. Occasionally I might throw something in there, but as I did this evening about open winners and things and the dates and stuff like that. But that's about the extent of it. If you're looking to, for a program that's going to just ramble off tour stats and things like that, there's just too many other venues out there that offer that. And that's not really what this is. This program is really about the golfers out there and about the teaching professionals out there, bringing them together. By bringing on some of these top professionals and top industry types, this allows you, the average everyday golfer and the weekend warriors, a place to tune in and hopefully as time goes on, you'll muster up the courage and call into the program and speak to some of the teaching professionals and get some tips. This is an opportunity to get some free insights and free tips. I know we can all go to the Golf Channel and things like that to get that, and there's a multitude of websites and that on the internet that we can all go to. But this is sort of your own program, a program that's been formatted for you, the average golfer out there, that you can tune in and get a variety, not just one teaching professional, but a variety of teaching professionals, get their viewpoints and their opinions and their feedback. And actually, which helps me get into a lead-in. And for any of you teaching professionals out there that are listening or that tune in while the broadcast at a later point at a recorded version, one of the things that I'm going to be introducing in the next little while, it's not going to be in the next couple of weeks, but it's going to really depend on some of the teaching professionals' response. I was going to do this actually online with a website or blog, a segment called Coach's Corner. And it was something that I'd taken from back home, actually in hockey. There was a gentleman that ran a very successful program called Coach's Corner that was into hockey and things like that. And he had a similar type of program where you could call in and so forth. And it was a very successful, Don Cherry was the gentleman's name for any of you hockey fans. And he was quite a colorful character and quite a colorful dresser. Of course, I'm not going to go to that extent, but he had a very interesting program, and he took a lot of questions. And this is something else that I want to encourage you. If you don't want to call into the program, maybe you're a little shy to get on live, certainly you can email or message on the Golf Talk Live Facebook page and put your questions up there, and I will read them out online as they come in, and certainly give you a little shout-out for doing that. So if you want to hear your name on live air, then you can certainly do that. But I invite you to send in your questions for the teaching professionals in the weeks to come, and I will certainly put them out there for them. I'm going to have some of my own questions, of course, but if you have specific questions that you want to ask, maybe you're trying to work on a specific part of your game, and that also goes for some of the past guests that like Nicole, those that maybe have somebody that's just starting out, a junior golfer, I can certainly help to forward that information on, and we're going to have, of course, Nicole and I have already talked about having a group of ladies on here, teaching professionals, including herself, and having sort of a women's forum, if you will, just to play sort of equal and fair for the sexes. I think that the ladies golfers are just as effective as the men out there, and I think that I want to give them a fair voice as well. So certainly Nicole is going to be coming back in a future episode. and I certainly want to get her on the Golf Talk Live program again, but also maybe in a segment of Coach's Corner. So for any of you coaches out there or teaching professionals that want to participate, basically what we're going to do is obviously schedules and things like that have to be worked around. I don't expect you necessarily to be on every single week. We certainly want to, again, depending on how successful it is, we want to have that segment, that Coach's Corner segment, as part of the every week program in the months to come. And what I thought would be best was to rotate you out. So as an example, we might have 2 or 3 coaches on one program, allowing you to call in and get some different perspectives and different views, but also to change it out so that you're not stuck in a commitment that you might not be able to keep week in, week out. So that's going to give some of you teaching professionals an opportunity to come on here multiple times and have a little bit of fun, and hopefully we can get some callers calling in. Also, to the teaching professionals, I want to encourage you to get your students to not only call in, but also to listen into the program. We're going to certainly, over the weeks to come, as I said, with some of the guests coming on, there's going to be some valuable information on there that they can get. And if they want to listen to somebody else that's out there in the teaching world, certainly I know that you're all secure enough that you don't mind sharing ideas. And that's the other thing that we want to do here in Golf Talk Live, is we want the teaching professionals and golf industry professionals to share some of the thoughts and views that you take to not only your own games and your own profession, but there might be something, as an example, that you might be doing on your in your academy that maybe somebody else could use in theirs that would help make it a more solid experience for them. So I want to encourage that sort of interaction amongst the professionals, and I know that a lot of you are doing that on Facebook and some of the other social media sites, and also doing it on your own websites. But this is an opportunity that we can come together as a team, if you will. As I mentioned in a previous segment, previous show rather, and also last week with Nicole, I did something very effective back home in a different industry rather, but with a region where we came together and exchanged ideas and sort of presented a united front. So I think that's something that we can do together, and I hope that you'll participate in the Coach's Corner segments in future, and I'll certainly put more information about that on the website when it comes out. And just to update you on that, I'm still working on the website/blog for Golf Talk Live that will have the schedules coming out. In the meantime, I'm going to use the Facebook page for now, which you can get at facebook.com/Golf Talk Live. So don't forget to visit that and to throw a like or two my way. I would appreciate it, and I appreciate all the support to all of those that have contacted me over the last few weeks to come on the program. I know that everybody, as I said, is very, very busy, and this is a busy season for the teaching professional, particularly here in the U.S. and obviously around the world. But here in the U.S., it's in a busy season right now, so I know how difficult it is for many of you. It's been tough for me even to schedule this program sometime with everything going on. So I certainly appreciate your support, and I appreciate those on Facebook and other sites, media's outlets that are help promoting the show. Just to give a quick shout out to Greg Thorner down in Tampa Bay, Florida, who has helped do that as well, and Nikki Litherland, who has also been very supportive, and there are just countless others that have been supportive over the last few weeks in promoting this project of mine, and I hope that you will continue to support it and continue to follow along in Golf Talk Live. Just to remind you, if you want to call into the program live, we're just wrapping up in the last few minutes here before it goes off. If you want to call into the program, the number to call in during the live broadcast is 646-716-4667. Unfortunately, we didn't get that previous caller. I don't know whether it dropped or maybe he had second thoughts, but certainly want to get some interaction on the program. And I know that as a new program, it takes a little time to build that up. So I'm going to certainly work on that. And I'm hoping that in the weeks to come that the guests that come on here will be able to help me do that. Also, if you want to come on the program, if you're a teaching professional or somebody in the golf profession, or know somebody that you think would make a good guest on the program, they can certainly contact me at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. Again, that's ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. You can contact me there, and you can also contact me through Facebook and or on the Golf Talk Live Facebook page. You can certainly put your information on there. I've left it open so anybody can post. just remember to like the page while you're there. I appreciate that. But just to sort of quickly wrap up a little bit, next week, obviously the best field will get together at Marion Golf Club in Ardmore, Pennsylvania to do battle at the 2013 U.S. Open. I want to thank you all for tuning in this evening. Just wanted to give just a little bit of insight as to what's coming up. As I said, didn't want to spend too much time. As I said, I didn't have a guest on this evening. Everybody was a little bit busy, but I've got the next couple of months, or certainly month and a half, filled up, and I got more to come. So there's going to be some great guests in the weeks to come. I hope that you'll tune back in, and I'm going to try and work on some more segments that we can throw in here to make it a little bit more interactive. I hope you enjoyed the good, bad, the ugly that I did tonight. As I said, it was a little bit tough sometimes getting the ugly, so I had to kind of throw the U.S. Open under the bus there just to put it in a category. But certainly nothing against the U.S. Open. It's a great tournament. I'm looking forward to watching it next week. And as I said, I will certainly let everybody know in the next few days whether or not I'm going to do a segment next Thursday night. Again, I didn't plan for a guest on Thursday, mainly because the U.S. Open was running, and I know that everybody would be tuned to their TV sets and various media outlets to tune into that. So I certainly don't want to take away from anybody's time. But if I do decide to do it, I will certainly let you know, and I may just sort of do a follow-up from tonight on some of the U.S. Open stuff happening. But I'll certainly let you know. But if not, in the meantime, my next guest is going to be, as I mentioned, Deanna Zenger, Executive Director of Hole-in-One Pilates International, and also the Association of Golf Fitness Professionals. She's going to be joining me on the 20th of June. First off, right at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and she'll be on for roughly about an hour, and then I'll have a little bit of time with my next guest on the 20th, Trent Warner, who is out in Englewood, Colorado, and he'll be talking about his book, Golf Scrimmages, plus a little bit about the Trent Warner Golf Academy. We'll be hearing a little bit about that as well. And again, on the 27th, my guest will be author Joel Zuckerman, talking about his book, Pros Pro, and Tom Shaw, who's coached for a number of years as a Division I coach for Vanderbilt and Tulane universities, and also the founder of College Golf Game Plan. He'll be coming on here to talk a little bit about that and just about the college experience as well. So I hope that everybody has a great evening. I want to thank you all for tuning into Golf Talk Live tonight. Again, don't forget you can contact me at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. Like me on Facebook. Visit my page. It's Ted Odorico, and it's Odorico. Certainly, you're welcome to friend me on Facebook. And don't forget to visit the Golf Talk Live Facebook page, and that is facebook.com/Golf Talk Live. Visit the page. Throw some likes my way. I would certainly appreciate it. Again, have a great evening, everyone. Don't forget to tune in next Thursday, or not sure if it's going to be next Thursday or not, but don't forget to tune in. Other than that, every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time here on Golf Talk Live. Don't forget, if you want to be a guest on the program, to make sure you contact me at the email that I provided at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. Have a great night, everybody. God bless, and thank you for tuning in this evening. Take care.